In this video, we're going to discuss the valve behavior. Alright, so as you can see, I'm at a little barista shop here and I've got a customer in line waiting for his coffee. So I'm just going to pick up my cup and head over to my antique steam brewing machine. This is a machine that's been in our family for generations, obviously, and I'm just going to use it to heat up the coffee. Now, I need to attach this valve here, so I'm just going to pick the valve up and slap it onto the pipe here, and then step on over here to the machine to get the hot water from the steam machine. There we go. Now we just need to grind some beans. We'll grind some beans. Yep, got the beans. Now we just need to use the espresso machine to whip it up into a nice foamy brew. You can hear that bubbling right there. Good, all right, excellent. And we can just serve the customer his coffee and he'll be on his way. So let me show you how I set all this up. I know it's kind of a silly example for the valve behavior, but somebody had asked for this explanation, and I was going to do like maybe another flooded basement, but I've done it before in water control, for example. And I watched that video and I realized that I used the valve behavior and the valve pipe behavior in that video back then, but I never actually explained it. So it was a good call out. I'll go through both. They are kind of hand in hand. So in other words, you wouldn't use just valve. You wouldn't just use pipe valve. You would need to use these both in conjunction with one another. It's not dissimilar from task object and task item, for example, where the two things are meant to be used together. Now I'm using these two default assets that come with Macs. You can use whichever two assets you want. What's great about these is it actually kind of has a custom animation included with it, so that's why I chose to use this. But here's the caution: if you do use these behaviors, do be sure to update the behavior that's attached to them, because I did notice that sometimes you'll have a asset that has a behavior already attached by default, and that is a reference to an older version of the behavior. So you'll want to make sure that you click on the selected object behavior icon here, open up the behavior window, and ensure that you're pointing to the valve by Necrum in parentheses rather than just valve. The difference between the two here is one of them comes from Max and the other one comes from the workshop, which is like the community version, the latest version that Necrum may have made updates to. So it's just safer to always use this one if you can. Do be sure to update your workshop periodically and make sure you're getting the right one. But I'll just go ahead and click on that to attach the right behavior, and we'll step through this together. So we have the prompt text, which is just what's going to be displayed to the player when you get within range. The range here is the pickup range. So we're talking about 80 units. Just how close do I have to be in order to interact with the object? We have the pickup style, which is either automatic or manual. If you choose automatic, then what that means is once I get within that 80 unit range, it's just going to automatically pick it up, and you'll hear the sound and everything. But if you don't want that to be, if you want it to be more obvious, then you want to use manual, so that they have to go and cursor over the object, press E to actually manually pick it up. And then you have what is displayed when the player picks up the objects. You see valve wheel collected is the text that would be displayed. You'd also hear the sound, so it's a little double feedback to let the player know that he's collected something. And that's important in this case because this object is not going to go into the inventory. It's not a collectible object. The behavior acts such that it really ticks a box in the background, so to speak. It sets a variable, I'm sure, that indicates that the valve has been picked up. So you don't actually carry the object in your inventory, you just kind of have it in the background. So bear that in mind. And so you want that feedback, you want the player to know they've gotten something they can use. This prompt display is, where is that display text going to show up? Is it going to be local to the object, nearby that object, or is it going to be at the bottom center of the screen? That's what these two options mean. You have the item highlight, which is really, if you have a dark environment or you just want to really let the object stand out as something interactable, you might choose to use shape or outline. Shape would really just make the entire shape of the object glow, or the outline would just be the outline of the object. In my case, I didn't bother with it because you could see it clearly there on the counter. And then lastly, we have the sound, which is what will be played when you pick up the object. So again, just feedback for the player that they've interacted with something. And like I said, you really need to use the pipe valve behavior on whatever object is the pipe so that you know which, where does this go? And when you get within range of that pipe valve, then it just automatically attaches the wheel to the pipe, assuming you have it, you've picked it up. Otherwise, it will show this text here, which says valve wheel required. So it tells the player, hey, you don't have the object that you need in order to interact with me. Go get it. But when you have it and you interact with it, then the next thing you'll see is the prompt text here, which is edo use. And when you use that, then you see this text, the use text, which is valve opened. And you'll hear this sound, which is the sound that is played when you attach the wheel, and then this sound when you turn the wheel. And I think the last sound, the second one, is once the valve is fully open, then there can play a third sound if you want. I didn't really see the need to do that. And then the last thing, we already talked about the prompt display, just where is that text going to show up? Is it going to be near this object, or always dead center to the bottom of the screen? So whichever you prefer, it's up to you. And then of course this valve is a switch, right? So by connecting the wheel to the valve and turning it, you're effectively using a switch. And so in my case, my switch did one thing. It activated this object here, which is a timed event. And the timed event was just delaying a sound that I wanted to play for 2 seconds. It really just gave me enough time to get over here to this little valve here, or this little spigot, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really have much to use, so I just used that. And then it also activated this steam to come out of the machine, just to make it look a little bit more active. Today's sponsor is My Boo Coffee. It's an artisan roasted blend coffee exclusive to the game world. So if you're ever in your game and you need a quick zip of energy, try My Boo. My Boo, the brew for you. But that's it. That's the valve behavior explained. I hope that the person requesting it understands and got everything they needed from that. If you enjoyed the video, or if you learned anything new, please be sure to click the like button down below. If you're new here, if you just haven't subscribed yet, would love to have you stick around. And lastly, if you'd like a notification for whenever new videos are posted, just click the bell icon and that'll let you know when a new video is ready. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey, don't forget there's a written guide for every behavior, including ones I haven't yet covered on this channel. And if you want to learn some more, why don't you check out this video next.